All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our moderator training webinar. My name is Lori Sabata, and I am the ACUHI staff liaison to the programming committee, and I can see a lot of people that are on the call are familiar names that have worked with us before on the program committee, so welcome. And also online with me today is Christine Winget, and I'll turn it over to Christine in a few minutes and let her introduce herself, and we'll get the program started. But I just wanted to, first of all, do a quick tech check and just make sure that everyone can hear my voice. So what I'm going to do is ask you to look at your control panel and find the little hand that you can raise. There's like a little cartoon hand that you can click. If you wouldn't mind clicking on that, that lets me know you can hear me, and I'm seeing raised hands, so that's great. Looks like everything is well on your end. Thank you so much for doing that. What we'll do is we will have some presentation time today. We're not showing our screen, so don't get concerned if you're not seeing any slides. This is all just sort of an audio call. So we'll have some time to go through the items that we need to get through, and then we'll take some time for questions. And we actually do have quite a few people on the call, so I think what we'll do is we'll leave you in a listen-only mode, and we'll go ahead and just look again at if you're not familiar with GoToMeeting, there's a box there. I think it says chat or questions. If you think of a question at any time, you don't have to wait till the end. Anytime you think of it, just go ahead and drop it in that question box, and I'll keep an eye on those throughout the webinar, and we'll take some time to make sure you get all your questions answered. So, Christine, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Welcome.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Lori, for that introduction. And thank you, everyone who is here today and able to be with us to talk about virtual moderator training. This is the first time we've ever done this virtually. As many of you probably know, we have done it in person at the conference, and we'll be having one at the conference as well this year. But we wanted to try something new to be able to save you all time at the conference. So instead of spending your time in moderator training, you're spending time connecting with colleagues and maybe even sleeping in on Sunday morning instead of attending moderator training. So we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Christine Winget, and I serve in the administration role on the program committee for ACUHI, which means I oversee the program, submissions, as the review coordinators, the reviewers of all the programs, as well as the moderators. And so that is why we are here today, is to talk to everyone about moderating. So if you all could raise your hand if you have moderated before. So click the little hand if you've moderated before. We're just kind of curious how many people have never done it and how many people are new to this.
Great. So I'm seeing Amanda Mueller has raised her hand, and Jose Valenciano, Joshua Retta, Lisa Giddens, Robin Gagnow. Hi, Robin. Shelley Keniston. Looks like that's what we have for now.
Great. Wonderful. I'm so glad that we have so many returners here. We did want everybody to attend this because a few things have changed for our moderators, and so we want to make sure everyone is on the same page. As a note, we are recording this session today, and so this session will be available afterwards just in case you wanted to listen to it again because you want to hear our lovely voices again, or if you've forgotten something, or if you know a colleague who is interested in moderating and want to forward this training to them, that's also appreciated. We also will have one other, just so you know, one other presenter joining us momentarily. And so Stuart will be coming in and doing a couple of things as well throughout this training. I wanted to take a minute to thank you all for serving as moderators. Our conference really wouldn't be possible without you all. You all are kind of what holds the conference together. So we really appreciate you taking the time to moderate. The hope for moderators always is that you're attending sessions and moderating sessions that you would have attended anyway. And so you're still getting something out of the session. That's the goal, right? You're there for professional development. But also we appreciate you volunteering in this role to help serve our organization as well as the conference. We're going to move right along into the roles of the moderator. So like I said, you all kind of hold the conference together. You start off the presentations and end the presentations through each session during the conference. We'll talk about all these things in more detail as the session goes on. You're there to assist presenters in any way that they might need assistance. So helping them with technology, helping them kind of feel more comfortable. You're there to welcome the attendees as they're coming in and to introduce the presenters. You're there to ensure that evaluations are completed by attendees. New this year, you'll be promoting some upcoming events and opportunities that will be happening at the conferences. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about the electronic file process. For those of you who have moderated before, I think you will be pleasantly pleased with the changes that we've made for this upcoming conference. Does that all sound good, hopefully, to everyone? I know that you can say it out loud, but I won't be able to hear you. But hopefully that sounds good. Like Lori said, if you do have questions as we're going through things, please feel free to message her and on the chat part, and she will make sure that those questions get answered either throughout the presentation or at the end. All right, so we are going to move into your role and what you'll do before the presentation that you have signed up for happens. The first thing you're going to want to do is pick up the moderator packet. And that moderator packet will be available in the program committee office. So that you know now, that room number is 554A, and it is in the convention center. This year we will have some of the presentations in the convention center and some in the Omni. So you may be moderating something that is in one of those other in the Omni location instead of the convention center. But the moderator packet that you'll pick up, which will be a manila envelope, will be in the convention center. And again, that's 554A. And the hope is that you'll come and pick that up at least one session before you're actually moderating. We understand that might not always be possible, so that's fine. You are welcome to grab multiple moderator packets if you're moderating multiple sessions. My only concern for you is that they are a little bit heavy, and so having to walk around with them all day can be a little bit much. So it is up to you. If you have back-to-back sessions, it makes sense to grab two. If you have a couple sessions in between them or a couple on different days, it makes sense to come back each time to grab that packet. That moderator packet will include paper evaluations. It will include Akuho Eye stickers, which are, if you've moderated before, or even if you've attended our conference before, you might know what those look like. They're a small, probably 1 inch in diameter sticker that says Akuho Eye on it. And those stickers are for folks who complete their evaluation. You'll receive a 5-minute remaining sign. This is something new to be able to hold up to the presenter so that they know when there's 5 minutes left in their presentation. You'll receive a copy of the moderator instructions, which I sent out with the email about these sessions as well. So you'll receive a copy of that, so you don't need to bring that with you. You, of course, are welcome to, but you can save a tree by not bringing it. And then you will also, on the envelope, there will be a couple different stickers that haven't been there. One has been there and one is new. So in the front, on the front of the packet, I think, Lori can correct me if I'm incorrect, but it's usually on the left-hand top corner of the packet. There is a sticker that will have the session number, the session name, and the room number where that presentation is taking place. And new this year, we're so excited, it will say attendees with a line. And so you'll have that, and you'll fill out the number of attendees on that small sticker. In addition, an additional sticker will be on the front of that envelope, and that additional sticker will explain an upcoming event for the conference. And I'll talk about that a little bit later, but that will be what you're kind of publicizing that's coming up. So it could be anything from the closing reception to the fun run to something else. So you'll kind of see what those might look like. And then also, if you want, you can grab some pencils from the program committee room as well. I usually suggest at least on day one to grab those pencils. Sometimes people forget to bring something to write with, especially if they're really into technology. They may not have a pen or pencil. So it's nice to have some of those at all the sessions, but especially on the first day, because people maybe haven't gotten to the conference grind yet and so are kind of forgetting some of those things. So once you have that moderator packet, the hope is that you will arrive to the session room at least 5 minutes prior to the start of that presentation. And I would say if you can get there earlier, that's great. But the 5 minutes is really important to ensure that the session is going to run smoothly. As you may know, if you've ever attended a conference, any conference before, it is common to get stopped by people as you know you're on your way to something and you suddenly get stopped by someone. So knowing that this is a common experience, it's good to allow for some extra time as you're heading to that session, because you want to be in the session room, again, at least 5 minutes ahead of time. So it's good to have something ready in case somebody comes up to you and really wants to catch up with you. So some examples, just so that you know, we came up with some for you, but you can say, so sorry, but can I give you a text so that we can catch up later? I'm a moderator, and it's important for me to make it to the room on time to ensure the presenters are ready. So that might be one. Another was, hey, can you walk with me while we chat? I'm a moderator, and I want to make sure that the presenters are all set. So you can also do that, something simple, easy, but a way to kind of keep you on track. We know stuff comes up at the conference all the time, and we just want to make sure that the moderator is in the room prior to the presentation beginning. As you get into the room, kind of your first role is really to assist the presenters. And realize that sometimes the presenter, this is the first time they've ever presented at a conference. This may be the first time they've ever presented at an international conference, or whatever that means. So anything you can do to help them feel comfortable, to help them calm their nerves, introduce yourself. Also realize that sometimes this might be somebody you might want to connect with in the field at a later date. And so, you know, you're kind of able to meet this person, so take advantage of that opportunity as well. Make sure that they're getting their presentation set up okay. And offer any assistance that's needed. They are asked to bring their own laptops, their own clickers, their own dongles, anything that they need to ensure their presentation is a success. They are asked to bring those things with them. What we know is some people forget, or something happens, or they connect their laptop and it doesn't work exactly right. We want to be able to help with any of those issues that we can. And so as the moderator, it's good to encourage them to set up their laptop right away, or whatever device they're using right away, to make sure that that works, so that if it's not, we can get assistance as soon as possible. The great news is that we have an IT team right on site, and they are willing and able to help us. And the great news this year is that they're right next door to the program committee room. So that's awesome for us, and we're able to really be able to speak with them and get things taken care of quickly. But we know those things come up. So if you have an IT issue, just come back to the program committee room, grab one of the folks who are in there, and they can assist. Of course, if you know me, or you know Lori, grab one of us. If you see us walking in the hallway, we're happy to help that way too. And hopefully we'll meet you all if we don't know you yet at the conference. We'll be able to see you there too. Also, ask the presenters if they would like you to introduce them. You do want to welcome everyone to the session, but they may want to introduce themselves. A lot of presenters would rather introduce themselves, so it's good to find out what they would like. And also let them know that you do have a 5-minute sign to hold up, and that, like I said, is new this year, and so presenters won't know about that. So it's good to share with them, hey, we have this 5 minutes remaining sign to hold up, just so that you know, and know how much time. And what you may want to ask them is, do you want me to hold that up 5 minutes before the end of your, like, the time of the presentation? Or if they're doing questions at the end, if they'd rather have you hold it up, 10 minutes before the end of the presentation, just so that they know how much time they have left. So once you've kind of helped the presenters get all ready, there will likely be attendees walking into the room. Hopefully you're able to welcome those folks. And remember, you kind of set the tone for that session. So the presenters haven't talked yet, but the attendees have talked to the moderator. And so even just saying hello, and being able to connect with them right away is a good way to really be able to start off that right. And let's see, you also want to give out the evaluations. So the evaluations are extremely important, so you want to make sure to give them the evaluation, so that, and usually standing by the door is the best place to do that. We also ask that you start out the session by doing a welcome for the attendees, and introduce the presenters if they would like to be introduced. Like I said, you have done that. It's nice to kind of say a little thank you to the presenters before the presentation even starts, and you'll do that again at the end. And then share the session number for folks' evaluations. They'll need to put that on their evaluation, and it's easy because you'll have it right there, right on the envelope. And so that's kind of all the things that you'd want to do right at the beginning before that even starts. I think Stuart has joined us. I'm going to have him introduce himself and move into kind of what the next steps are in the process.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Christine?
Yep.
Awesome.
You're good.
So I think right now we're talking about promoting upcoming events at the conference.
Correct.
Awesome. So one thing that's really new this year, everybody, is that we want to be able to share the excitement about upcoming events or different opportunities that's happening at the conferences. You know, every point of the conference is really thought out about how we can make it best for all the attendees, and we want to know what's on the horizon. So on that envelope that you'll have, there's going to be a large sticker on it. And on that sticker, it's going to share an event or opportunity that's going to be happening either later on that day or that night. So for an example, during one of the days, we're going to be having our annual case study competition. And so the reminder for 2 different sessions will be saying that, you know, remind that the case study final competition is being held in the Convention Center room in 551A. Come cheer on our newer experienced professionals during the final round of this competition. Again, we're going to try to highlight different types of events going on throughout the different sessions to also keep it fresh for the attendees. We want to emphasize that you want to read it from the envelope for that session because it's going to differ per session. So if you're going to be moderating more than one session, that means what you're going to be promoting is probably going to change in the next session that you're going to be moderating. Another big thing is after the presenters are finished, of course you want to be able to thank them. This conference is huge, and really what makes the conference special is the presenters coming and doing these different sessions for us. The thank you can be as simple as, you know, let's give another round of applause for our presenters. Without presenters like Stuart and Christine, this conference would not be as great as it is. And then leave the audience another applause for the presenters. Finally, you always want to thank them on behalf of the ACUI's program committee. We also talked about in your packet that there's going to be evaluations that are paper and pencil to be filled out. You know, when you're standing in the door to make sure that everybody receives and turns in that evaluation, you want to do the same thing at the end. Stand in the doorway, and as people are exiting, make sure you get the evaluation from everyone that is leaving. When you get all the evaluations together, make sure that you give the presenter the bottom part of the evaluation, and then the top part's going to go back into the envelopes. The reason we do this is because this gives the presenters and really ensures that the presenters get information, feedback right there, and there's not a chance for them not to get at the end of the conference. It also makes sure that we get the evaluation part back so that we can best evaluate how the conference as a whole went. Finally, you're going to want to give a sticker for the Fill in Your Hall booklets to everyone that turns in evaluation. These stickers are used to fill in your hall, which is something that we've done in years past. It's for a prize drawing that will happen at the closing reception. So let's talk a little bit about after the session is over. And this should make pretty much sense, but of course now you've got your envelope. In your envelope you've got your evaluation. You've also got any pencils, any leftover evaluations or other things. You're going to bring all of those back to the program committee office 554A, which is in the Convention Center. And again, just as a reminder, we will have where that room is and everything on the envelope so it's easy to remember. So let's talk about electronic files. Some of you all that are pros to doing this in the past will know that we always had a flash drive. You had to get electronic files and things like that during the session. We've gotten away from that this year. We have asked all presenters to submit their presentations prior to the conference. They're actually due today. So if you're one of those people that are also presenting and you haven't turned that in yet, clock's ticking, make sure you get it in. What we want to be able to share also is that these slides, like always, will be available in the ACUI library so people can review them later on or look past at them. Now, for those presenters that maybe weren't able to turn them in or get them in, they're going to be able to go ahead and still submit them at a later time. We will have a website for them to go and upload them because we still want to get it for a body of knowledge. And again, we'll have that information for you in your envelope so you can give that to the presenters so it's not taking away from them setting up or closing down and how you're connecting with the attendees of the actual session. All that information will also be on a card, so it's easy also to give that card to the presenter saying, hey, you know, once you have a moment, please upload your session into, you know, the website that we have to collect these for people that didn't send them beforehand. So I want to talk a little bit about involvement right now also. We still are in need of moderators for sessions for this conference. So if you can sign up for more, we would love you to be able to do that. Also, if you've got friends or colleagues that you know are going to the conference and are looking for an easy way to volunteer or an easy way to get more involved, you know, ask them if they would mind moderating a session if they want to try that out. It's very easy to do. All they have to do is email Christine at christinewi@housing.ufl.edu. And that is the email address that has been shared with you before. We also want to talk to you about the program committee, because as serving as a session moderator, you are helping out the program committee and you are actually taking part in what we do. And we want to welcome you to the committee if you want to continue on in it. Our program committee meeting is going to be on Monday from 10:45 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. in 555B in the Convention Center. We really hope that you'll join us. We really think that we're a fun group and you will make us even more fun. We also do a lot of important work for the association. At this time, I want to turn it back over to Christine that's going to be wrapping us up.
Great. Thank you, Stuart. We do ask that when you do get to the conference, please stop by the program room. We want you to make sure to check out the program listing. We'll have it on the wall. We just want to make sure that nothing's changed for your session and all of that, just in case the location's changed or there was a cancellation. And again, we do have extra sessions open, so if you'd like to come to any of those and moderate, that would be awesome as well. We're especially short late in the conference, so on Tuesday we have quite a few spaces open, so if any of those work for you or your colleagues, that would be great. We also, if we haven't met you before, would love to meet you, and so you're welcome to come and join us in the program committee office and say hello and hopefully get to know us a little bit. So thank you so much for attending today. We wanted to open it up to questions, and I don't know if Lori has gotten any yet, but I'm sure she will let me know.
We do have a couple of questions, and then I had a couple of just clarifications on things that I was going to add based on my experience. Yeah, so, but the question is, can we ask all participants to tear off the bottom half to give to the presenters? So because if you have a big group, it does take a long time for that to happen.
Definitely you can, and often what I've done even is I'll start to tear them off as I get them, and then other people see you doing it, and so they'll start to do it. But yeah, you can ask them as you're doing that closing. That's a great time to say, hey, we do need to separate the evaluations. If you could, that would be great. And basically the qualitative part of the evaluation goes to the presenter, which is the stuff that is written out in sentence form or bullet points. And the quantitative, just kind of the other evaluation, is what we send off to get calculated and then gets back to us and to the presenter. So the presenter eventually will get all that feedback. But yes, that's a great way to do it. I would just encourage you to quickly go through them to make sure that people put them in the right stacks before you leave the presenters.
Right, and then I know sometimes we have presenters who forget to take their the short off parts. We always, I think we send messaging out before saying, come and pick that up in the program office, and we usually stack them there and put a note on it. Because it's hard to get it to them after we leave the conference.
Right.
So I had one thing I was going to mention, and you may have mentioned this before, about the roundtables. Just a reminder to everyone that the roundtable rooms don't have AV in them. So occasionally, and we do, we send out a lot of messaging about this in multiple ways, but I think sometimes a few people forget sometimes, and they come to the program office, or they may come to you as a moderator saying, where's my AV? So there is no AV in the roundtable session rooms. So, and that
is because they are roundtables, and so they are supposed to be discussion group versus having the technology. So yes, thank you, Lori, because that does typically happen to at least one moderator. So.
It does, and I just happen to think of it because just based on some of the feedback I'm getting from people as they're uploading their presentations, people that have roundtables saying, I got this message saying that I need to upload my presentation, but I don't have AV, and I'm like, you're right, you don't.
Right, perfect.
Yeah, so, and then that just kind of brings me to another point about the uploading of the sessions. This is the first time we're doing it this year, and so far it's going really well. I just think as moderators, if you get asked, because I know I've had a couple people ask me, just confused, they're a little confused about it, thinking, so when they're uploading their sessions, this is meant to be something that's a supplement to their presentation, so it gets attached to the presentation in the mobile app, and it's something that participants in that session can say, oh, I see the PDF here or the PowerPoint. I can open that up and I can follow along, or I could make notes on it. It's not meant to be their final presentation. So if you have some presenters that are confused about that, tell them not to panic about it. Bring your presentation with you on your laptop. Use that one. The one that you uploaded does not have to be your final. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay, that was all that I had, and I didn't have any other questions. Someone asked if there's an evaluation function on the app. There is not, except for the sprint session. The big sprint general session, we do have a link to a evaluation survey on that one. But no, everything's paper.
We have talked about making the process a little bit more sustainable, but we have continued to use the paper because of the response rate. And we just get a better response when folks are doing it on paper. The sprint session that Lori was just referring to is a new name for the Ignite 2020 sessions that we have had in the past, which are those quick sessions where there's a bunch of different topics covered. That will be a little bit different at this year's conference. There will be one session, and it is not during other sessions. So folks everybody at the conference potentially could attend that session if they wanted to, because we got a lot of feedback that folks weren't able to attend because the room was too small, or or they wanted to be at another session at that time. And so this takes it so that it's a separate session that anyone can attend who would like to attend. I did want to give one more opportunity for folks to put questions in the chat box for Lori before we wrap up.
I do have one more. Someone asked if the evaluation is different for the relay sessions. It's the same. Same for the relay sessions as all the other sessions. And that's all I have.
Great. Well, thank you so much for attending today. You all have my contact information. I think, again, it's Christine, CHRISTINE, wi@housing.ufl.edu. And you're welcome to email me if you have additional questions that you didn't want to bring up here. I'm happy to answer those, or if anything else comes up. Again, if you do have other colleagues or friends that would like to be moderators, please send them our way. We'd be happy to have them. We did record this session, and we will send out that information so that you all have it too in case you need it. But thank you again for being here today, and thank you so much for serving as a moderator. I look forward to seeing you all next week.
Thanks, Christine and Stuart. Bye, everyone. See you next week.